am I okay to ask a few questions about Dominic Cummings?
If you want. You can ask me questions about anything. I mean,
um,
I'll answer.
so, can I just get your reaction to the news that he could be gone by next year?
Christmas, yeah. It's interesting. I had a mate of mine yesterday who's a political junkie, but isn't in the system. He always wants to be in the system. He always wants to be in the machine. And I'm always saying to him, "Oh, bloody, I've been in this too long. I should be going to get a proper job." He was on to me about this, thing with Cummings and the other chap, and I said, "No one cares, do they? Does anyone care about this nonsense? They care about furlough and if anyone's going to get sick or going to get a vaccine. Do they care about all this nonsense?" Well, it seems that now the media is so bored. Vaccine, it made the stock market, tick up, and everyone went, "Oh, I've read all our bloody COVID stuff now. You've got a vaccine." Oh no, let's talk about number 10 machine because that'd be interesting. So I didn't think it really was, but maybe there's a little bit more interest to it because people are bored. Cummings, he's had his day, and I don't mean that in a bad way. I think he was brought in to do a job which he's done really, really well. And maybe he feels, well, that's sort of run its course a bit, and they'll want some changes at the top. And Boris wants to, have a slightly different direction now. Government is different than campaigning, and I've felt for a while now that the government itself, or the people close to Boris Johnson, haven't really stopped the campaigning bit. Well, we did that in December when we won. Now we've got 5 years to govern, and let's govern because that's what we're supposed to do. So I think that this is more a case of that. I think it's Dominic was there for a reason. He did that very successfully. Now maybe his time has come.
Okay.
What do you think about it?
What do I think?
Yeah.
No one cares what I think.
Yeah, well, no one cares what I think, apart from you.
But have you had any interactions with Dominic Cummings?
No. When he was off doing his eye test, I put something on my website, and I did hold my counsel for a while because I didn't know all the details. And when he sat in the rose garden and started saying, "It's about my kid, I put him in a car, I took him somewhere safe," I thought, who could possibly disagree with that? Who could possibly disagree? And then he said, "And I went for a drive to check my eyes." And I went, "Oh my God." So straight on my website then I said, I think that's, that if you're trying to get other people to make sure they follow the rules, then a sacrificial lamb is probably what's coming there. And I wrote this little statement on my website, and it said, "I don't know Dominic Cummings, I've never met him." And the amount of pile-on I got from that, by people saying, "Oh, you've all said that." Well, that's because none of us have met him. A few people have met him. Theresa May's former chief of staff had been one of us, had been an MP, wandered around Portcullis House, going backwards and forwards to places. I've never even seen Cummings, never, apart from on television. So I don't know anything about him really.
Okay. So how do you see the power structure of number 10 changing if he does go?
Well, I just think that, I get the idea, and I don't know this. This is all speculation, and I hear people on the radio talking about it all the time, and they don't know either, incidentally. And this, Carrie Simmons wanted him gone, Who knows that? Just anyone believe that Carrie phoned up Laura Kingsburg and said, "Guess what? I'm a bit bored with the newborn baby and walking Dylan in number 10 garden. I'm going to try and reshape the government." It's a bit weird. So I know about as much as they do about this. So it's just my speculation. And my speculation is, as I said, really, I think, we need to now, we're coming to the end of the pandemic. We're coming to the end of the transition period. We have left the EU. We need to start governing in a different way. And that is a different discipline. And tearing up Whitehall and, changing the civil service, there's a lot of merit in that. I dealt with public sector and public servants for 20 years. And I can tell you, it's like walking through treacle a lot of the time. In real life, things don't happen the way they do in public sector and civil service. So there was some argument for the Cummings project of changing that. But in general, we need to start governing for everyone, and not just governing on Brexit and not just governing on COVID. And so I assume he's going to put a new team in there that is more, would be better placed to do that.
But you think there's some merit in his in the idea of sort of shrinking the government and taking away some of the bureaucracy?
Yes, small government. we could do this thing about, and we do, people do all the time about, the left hate me, that, they detest me. The last thing they want is a working class kid born on a council estate with a backstory. That votes Conservative. They don't want that, because that just, you must be some sort of traitor. Well, whatever, I don't care about them really. But my view about small state, about the individual, about people having personal responsibility is really simple. Freedom, the markets, let people decide. I'll give you an example, and you won't remember this because you weren't even born, which is, from my point of view, I'm very envious about. My sister, about 30 years ago, emigrated to Australia. And my mother used to go phone her once a month from a telephone box, which was owned by BT, which had formerly been called the GPO, the General Post Office. And they used to own all the phones. Now, she used to put £1 coin, it's 30 years ago, £1 coin per 1 minute in that phone box to phone my sister in Australia. Now you can phone Australia for a penny a minute if you are stupid enough not to use WhatsApp or whatever else is there for free. Those things have come about by competition. So when BT had the monopoly on phones, you used to have to write a letter. You probably had to write a letter. And they would acknowledge your letter and then say, you can have a telephone. It will take about 6 months to install. And everyone went, okay, because that's what we're used to. So the free market has done all that. And, that's why I'm a Conservative in no small part.